Dr. Sebi was a fraud. Man, so this video I'm going to be addressing not really the comments to you CB disciples yet, although we'll get to that probably in another video. But if you haven't done so already and you're not one of those CB disciples, please like, comment, share, subscribe. I know the disciples are, already hounded, but I want to address mostly black people in our blind discipleship. We follow these black leaders blindly. Loyal to the death. I had death threats, and a guy put a curse on me. It was supposed to happen in 20 days, whatever. I had people coming at me like I, kidnapped a dog and beat up their mom and all kinds of stuff because I said CB was a fraud, and he is. But my question is, why is it that we cannot, address black leaders? You guys, and you know who I'm talking to. There's been a few people who had the voice of reason, and I appreciate you guys. I appreciate your comments, and I try to respond to the people who have been, talking reckless, and the people who have been talking common sense as well. But it seems like these spiritual leaders, these gurus, these health coaches that pop up, you guys follow them religiously and blindly. Like, I'm a fan for honest and open discourse, and I believe that you should be able to challenge any idea, and that any idea should be able to stand and fall on its own merits, regardless of who the person is that pontificated. Another famous word that was in my comment section is real heavy. But regardless of who curated these ideas, that they should be able to fall and stand on their own merit. And the fact that when I talked about CB's ideas as them being bad, you guys were on me. I remember I did a video about TD Jakes, and I'll look through my old YouTube to see if I can find that for you. And the Christians came out about how I was going to hell, and how he was a good man of God and doing great works. And I'm like, look, if his ideas are bad, his ideas are bad. If what he's saying has no merit and it makes no sense, I'm going to address that. And I am not married to any idea or any theory. If you can give me evidence to say that gravity is not actually gravity, and you can present a good case and a good argument for it, I have no attachment to any ideas. There are some ideas that I do hold hold a little more weight in my mind because they've been demonstrated over and over again. But my mind, I'm very scientifically inclined when it comes to my approach to ideas. If it's observable, measurable, testable, and repeatable, then I'm all for it, which is how we know what's going to happen. Like, say I take this CD right here, right? Who has CDs anymore? And drop it over and over again. I know what's going to happen when I let it go because I can observe it, I can test it, I can repeat it. So with CB, you guys are holding on to this court case, and I addressed it in the other video. But real quick, the down and dirty of it. Court is not where you provide the evidence or proof of a cure. You don't prove your claims in a court of law. If he had a cure to HIV, he would do that at the NIH. He would do that in a laboratory. He would do that at the FDA. They would go over the statistics. They would go over the data analysis, and they would say, "Hey, this is the cure," or "Hey, this isn't a cure." CB was not in jail for curing people of HIV. That came up a lot in the comment sections. He was arrested in the 80s for practicing medicine without a license. He was arrested for practicing medicine without a license. And when he went to court, he didn't take people that he cured, because that's not how court works. You don't go to the court of law and say, hey, here are some antidotes that I have, some people who claimed I cured them. He wasn't, that wasn't what he was on trial for. The state, said, hey, look, you're practicing licensed without medicine. So let's put me in there so that way we can detach your emotions. Say I claim to have a cure for HIV and AIDS and chlamydia and syphilis and smallpox, and I can make you levitate and alkaline your blood and all kinds of other crazy, nonsense. Trying to keep this family friendly. But if I was spouting that type of bullshit, like I was like, hey, look, this is the cure to HIV, and I gave it to you, and it cured you. Let's grant that. Say that I was giving out the cure to HIV, and it was actually curing people, and I was arrested by, and charged by the state of Maryland, which is where I live. I would go to court, and I could say, hey, well, judge, I have 70 people, 80 people, 100, 1,000 people here. They've all been cured of HIV. Here's my proof to my cure. The judge will be like, well, that's good. You're doing a great work. However, the state's case is that you are practicing medicine without a license. I don't need to see your cure. I need to see your license. Do you have a license? I would say, well, no, I'm not a doctor. I don't have a license. And he'd be like, all right, well, I find you guilty. But that's not what happened in Sebi's case. Sebi went to court, and if you dig up the transcripts, the court case is about the practice of medicine without a license. It's not about having a cure. That's not what courts do. And when he went to court, the state had to prove that he was practicing medicine. So when you look at his promotional material, when you look at his flyers, when you look at the website, before and after he died, I pulled up the website in the old video. Before and after he died, you saw that he did not claim, like his website said, we do not diagnose or treat medical illnesses. That these food supplements are meant to be taken with your medication and are not a replacement for your medication or a replacement for your protocol. If he had a cure and that was the way it worked, you went to court to prove it, then he wouldn't need that disclaimer. But the reason why he has that disclaimer is because when he goes to court, he can say, hey, look, I'm not practicing medication. All I'm doing is giving out advice. But when he goes to his lectures and he talks to you beautiful black people, he says to you, hey, I can cure you of every disease you've ever had. And you're wondering why your mom is still, diabetic, and why your friend still is crippled and can't walk, and why your son still has autism. Like, these things don't go away with, diabetes, there's a lot that can happen with diet. We could change diabetes. But there's HIV. You're not changing that with your diet. I wish it were the other way around. I wish there were good news for you folks. But that's just life. Anyway, though, I'm done with that rant and done with the CB thing. When we're talking about black leaders and me calling them out, I had people say to me, why don't you address white people? Why don't you talk about one of them Edomites? Fuck out of here with that nonsense. Anyway, one, I have addressed white people. I've addressed Donald Trump on a few videos. I've addressed, who is it, John Hagee, the preacher. I've addressed anybody with bad ideas. But my main focus is people who are why don't I address white people? When you find me white folks who are misleading black folks at the same rate with the same dangerous ideas as CB was, by all means I will address them. And that's not me being facetious. You point them out and I'll address them. I'll talk about anybody with a bad idea, or anybody who is presenting material that they don't understand or is wrong. My main concern, my main cause, is promoting truth and dismantling fiction and fact and fraud. Anything that's phony, I'm against. And the falsehoods promoted by a lot of the spiritual leaders and these spiritual gurus who tell you that there's magic in your melanin and that you're going to be levitated and that you can cure cancer by taking $800 worth of pills. Yada. I called him out, but that video is not as popular. Creflo dollars. Like, I am all about open and honest dialogue, and as I've said, I'm not married to any ideas or theories. If you can point me in the direction of truth, and I can test it, I can observe it, I can repeat it. I don't need to tell you what's going to happen when you turn on the water faucet in your house, because you've done it before. And if I told you that some crazy bullshit is going to happen, like you turn on the water faucet and it's going to call the cops and ring an alarm, you might want to test that out. Now, if it doesn't happen, you can call me a fraud. You know, like I said, I'm about ideas, and I'm about them being able to be replicated. And no one has produced any paperwork, and I'm willing, I'm open to it. I'll take down my channel, my video, if you could show me just, it doesn't have to be a lot, just 3 people with positive HIV test, and then after that, they don't even have to be cured, just undetectable, where their T cell levels are normal. I'll apologize without a problem. I'll take back anything I've ever said. I've been wrong, and I have, no problem admitting that I've been wrong before. So like always, y'all, please like, share, and subscribe. And if you have that proof, CB Disciples, please. I've given my email out to plenty of them. I responded to a guy named Let Me Explain. I think his name is Victor. And he has yet to get back to me. I even opened up myself saying, hey, look, we can get on Skype. I'll pay for the Skype call for you. And we can have the open and honest dialogue and, debate facts versus fiction. But, when you're hiding behind a lie, nothing ruins it like the truth. And a lot of people are comfortable in their beliefs, and they don't want to be exposed. If you knew seeking the truth would bring you pain, would you still seek it? For a lot of people, and especially those CB disciples, the answer is no. He didn't cure Michael Jackson of his painkiller addiction. That was one of his major claims, that he cured Michael Jackson, and Michael Jackson took him to DC, wanted to show him off, and that Michael Jackson was like, well, thank you so much, I'm cured. Michael Jackson died of his painkiller addiction that CB supposedly cured him of. But this isn't the only case where we've seen him being fraudulent. But anyway, y'all, again, don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe. Peace.